Hello and welcome to Paper Crafting with Teresa. Today we're going to be making this fun fold card. There's no really particular name to it, but we'll call it a flap panel fun card. As you can see, our sentiment is on the outside, and then the inside where our greeting would be, it is left empty for you to fill out on your own. It is a standard A2 card, which is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And it does have some cut out vine with leaves on it that I cut from my Cricut machine. And then I put some white flowers on the outside of it using a punch, and put some gems in the center to signify, the center of the flower. Excuse me. And then in a 2-inch circle, I have the word hello stamped in a pear pizzazz green color, which, if you can notice, matches our cardstock, which matches our design series paper. Now the DSP, the punch for the flower, the cardstock, and the ink was all gotten from Stampin' Up. So let's go ahead and get started. For time purpose, I have already cut out the size of our card, which is a 4 1/4 by 11. So let's go ahead and score that. We want to score it at 5 1/2. So we go ahead and score this at 5 1/2. And I like to do it on both sides. It helps it give a better crease. Okay. So go ahead and fold that in half. And then take our bone folder. Now, this may be a preference, a designer's choice, if you want to put it that way, of what type of bone folder you want to use. Now, there are plastic ones. I don't really care for the plastic ones. To me, they're too flimsy. But this here is made out of pure cattle bone. So it's actually a bone. It doesn't freak me out any, surprisingly, but I guess because it doesn't really look like a bone. But you take this and you go and put a little bit of pressure as you go across your card. And flip it over and do the same thing. And that way you'll have a nice crisp edge, which will make your card stand up any way that you need to put it. Now, this card is unlike the cards I've made in the past in the fact that the side that it folds on is the 4 1/4 side instead of the 5 1/2. I wanted a longer card this way so that I could put more details on the front of the card. So after that, we're going to go ahead and take off 3 inches of the top flap. Now, the reason why we're doing this is because we're going to take that 3 inches and move it to use it as the flap that we use inside the card. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in, line it up with 3 inches, and slice it off, and place that to the side. Okay. Now what we're going to do is get some white cardstock and make our center for our card. I'm not sure if you have seen my big guillotine cutter or not, but I have it right here. It is a Tim Holtz guillotine. This is what I use to cut big pieces of paper, whole papers, because it has an extender that helps not only measure the paper, but also when you want to do big stacks of 12 by 12 or even the 8.5 by 11, this here will slice more than one sheet of paper at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this at 5.5. And then 4.25. And this will be for the inside of our card. And you'll see that this fits right there in the inside. So what we're going to do is go ahead and add some tear tape to 2 of the edges. And it's always a good idea to take your bone folder and go over where you put the tear tape at. And this makes the tear tape adhere really nicely to the back of the cardstock, so that when you do lift the protective layer off, that you don't remove the adhesive as well. So I'm going to use my take your pick tool and go ahead and dog ear one of them, or the top adhesive, the protective layer off of the adhesive, and then I'm going to go to the opposite side and do the same thing. This will help me ensure that my card is lined up with the cardstock that I'm putting it on as best as possible. Now we don't want to get too close to this flap because we want to be able to close that flap some. So I'm going to back that off a little bit. Now this will probably make our white paper just a little too long, which is okay. If that ever happens where one side of your paper sticks off from the card, but you've already glued it on, there's a way to fix it. So look, on the back side, this here is a little bit long, that's a little bit long, and that's a little bit long. So that tells me my paper was not really cut at 5.5. So you just take your scissors and trim that off. The paper, or the scissors that I'm using, is Tim Holtz. They're wonderful. I am so glad I invested in these. Got them at Hobby Lobby when they were having their sale, 40% off of Tim Holtz stuff. So I got them a lot cheaper than what they sell them for normally, and a lot cheaper than I could find them online as well. And who doesn't love a sale? Okay, there's that side there taken off. And what's really nice is only one side of them has the metal in the grip. The outside edges don't have that metal. They're flexible. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get this last side. Sorry I did not get any videos up last week. My grandkids were here for spring break, so that kind of put a kaput to doing anything on camera because you wouldn't have been able to hear me anyways. All right, so the next step is to add the flap and the decorative piece to the outside. So now I'm going to get my mini guillotine so that I can cut to cover up this flap. So it is 2 1/4. Well, when you can't remember, you could always put this up, push it to the edge, and measure it. So this here is 2 1/2. So let's go ahead by 2 1/4. So we're going to go here at 2 1/4 and cut. And this, if I can't remember if I said it or not, this is my mini guillotine. It is a Tim Holtz. I got this one first, and that's what made me fall in love with it and get the bigger one. So this here is 4 1/4, so I'm going to cut that at 4. And place that part to the side. So this should cover this. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is put some tear tape on the back of that. I used to put tape on all 4 sides, but unless it's going to get a lot of use, meaning if it was like on part of a fun fold card that always got opened and always got messed with, I would probably put more adhesive down. But I found for most parts, it just needs it on each side, and you would put it on the long side versus the short side of the piece. Okay, so let's go ahead and go across the adhesive. Make sure it's stuck down good. And then let's go ahead and dog ear it on that side and flip it and dog ear on this side. So now we go ahead and put the DSP onto the greeting card. Now, you might want to pay attention to whether your pattern has a pattern on the front of it that has to go a certain way. So this one here, I think looks better going down this way. So that's the way I'm going to choose it. Now, the way I cut this paper ended up being flush on each side, and I just need to make sure there's an even on the top and the bottom frame of it, and that will look pretty good there. Just making sure it's nice and glued down. So that's what it looks like so far, and it'll still be able to stand open. Okay, now I'm going to work on the flap. So I already put my adhesive on the back, and then we need to stamp. Okay, so here's my mat for stamping. This here helps me make sure it's soft and flexible, and it gets the ink onto your item a little bit better because it can go in and out. Now, if I had a lot of these that I wanted to stamp, I would probably use my Stamparatus, but since I only have the one piece, this is what I'm going to use. Now, the ink I have chosen is Pear Pizzazz, and if you notice, our Pear Pizzazz seems to be a theme here. I have Pear Pizzazz cardstock, and our DSP has Pear Pizzazz green in it, and our stamp will also be Pear Pizzazz. Now, this here, or these here, are all Stampin' Up! Products. So if you're interested in Stampin' Up! Products, I am a demonstrator, and if you contact me, we can talk more about that. My email address is in the description box, but it is papercrafting.teresa, and Teresa is spelled with an H, at gmail.com. Once again, that is papercrafting with Teresa, papercrafting j.teresa@gmail.com. You can tell I don't use this very often because I have not received any email yet and have problems saying my email address. However, if you are interested, please contact me. So I've put our sentiment down, which just says hello. And then I need to put some dimensionals on it. Let me see if I can find my dimensionals. Okay. I thought I had a bigger sheet. Oh, there they are. Okay. So I want to put one in the center to give it some stability. One on each edge. And then one on top. One on bottom. And then I think just for make sure it's really good there, I'm going to put a smaller one there. Smaller one here. Tell you what, this is not going to go anywheres. It's going to stay put. Okay. Move that out of the way. So we're going to take this here and go ahead and adhere this to it. I didn't get that one dimensional in the right place. I mean, it would have still worked, but if I had done that, you guys would have been able to see it sticking out the side of the card. So there's a note to self. Do not put your adhesive, especially dimensionals, right on the very edge of your cardstock because you will see it from the outside view. All right. Let me go ahead and put one more dimensional on here. There we go. Okay, so we're going to remove these. I don't even know if you guys can see me in the camera. I have a harder time getting dimensional tabs off than I do anything else. I don't know why. I mean, the tape I can get to come right off. The dimensionals I'm using are from the Dollar Tree. Maybe that has something to do with, I mean, they stick pretty good, but they're harder to take the protective layer off than, like, say, Stampin' Up or scrapbook.com. Okay, so I got those all removed. I'm going to place this down, and I'm going to put this, oops, I forgot a piece. Okay, so I am going to put a layer down at the bottom of the card, just so the inside of the card is not very empty, or as some crafters call it, naked. We always want to put something on the inside of the card, whether it's a stamp or a piece of cardstock. So this one here, I'm choosing to put cardstock. And you have to be careful that when you stamp on the inside of a card, that there's an extra layer in there that goes to the back, because if you don't, it could bleed through. Now you'll see I made this a little bit longer than it needed to be, so easy fix is you snip it off. Now this is something I need to do, so I'm going to pass it on to you so that you can do it as well. Always keep your scissors separate. So like my Tim Holtz scissors, I do not want to get them all sticky. with adhesive. So I use a different pair of scissors to get that down. There we go. So we want to line this up in the center, but only butt it up to the edge of that paper you put on. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is take our hello, and I got to get all these tabs here off. One good thing is, I put a ton of these dimensionals on the back of this. However, it's a pain to get them all. Protective tape off of it so that we can adhere it to our card front. There we go. Okay, so we want to make sure. I actually want more on top of the card than the bottom. And I think it looked better in the center. There we go, just like this. And the reason why I say I want it off to the side is because I have this nice little vine that I'm going to add to it. Okay, so I am going to get some more adhesive. And I want to use small ones. So what I have, I want to cut these in half because they're more of a medium size to it than a super small one. So rather than just cutting the square in my hand, I'm cutting the squares that are on my sheet. And that way I can just get a couple of them off that are mini sized. So I want to put one right here. And this here will help adhere down my little vine here. So we want to put it to where it would be the most covered. Right there. Okay. And then I need another one on the other side. I'm going to say right there. Yeah. Okay. I'll remove that tape. There we go. Just those two will keep that in place. All right. Now I have a hole punch that I'm going to use to cut out some flowers. And I'm going to use white cardstock because I just think it'll bring out the white that's everywhere else. So I like to face my punches upwards so that I can see it's cutting. And I think we might need three flowers. So those are out. And this here's the stamp I'm using. It is a stamp. It's a punch from Stampin' Up. I seem to be very tongue-tied today. I don't know why. So we're going to use our mat. And my little scoring tool. And you take your scoring tool and you put your flower on your stamping mat. And if you press in, you'll see that all the edges of the flower curl up. Now you can make it, do it a little bit more on with your fingers, but it adds dimension to the flowers. So then you can just get a mini dimensional and put it on the bottom of it. Okay. And then, let's see, where do we want to put that? I think right there is good. And then we need to go ahead and take care of both of the other flowers so I don't have to keep going back and forth. And you take this and you just push it in. I'm sure the bigger tool that you had to use to press these in, the better it would look. So we're going to go ahead and add that to a dimensional. Okay. And we're definitely going to put that over here at the beginning of it. Now, let's see. Do we need one at the top? I think so. I think it'll bring out a little bit more. I don't want to say dimension, but it'll balance it out more and bring your attention to the top of the card as well, and not just lay there all at the bottom. So we'll put this one, I'd say right in here. There we go. And then to top it all off, we got to add some kind of bling to it. So let me go ahead and get some out. And I found the best tool to use to get these off is my Take Your Pick tool. And I decided not to color these green like I normally do. I usually match the color of the flower. But since these are white, I think clear would be better than adding like maybe even a green color in there because of the cardstock. This just still adds a little pizzazz to our card. And there it is, our completed card. I just love this. It's so fresh looking. And then you write it into the center of the card, your message. A lot of people like it left blank because they want to write their own message, and some people want it written in. And your card still stands up. All right, and there we go. Thank you for watching. If you liked my video today, please take time and like my page and subscribe to my channel. Once again, this is Paper Crafting with Teresa. If you have any questions or would like to contact me, my email address is papercrafting.teresa@gmail.com. Thank you. See you guys next time.